Oh, there's, oh, okay, let's see. This is the stuff that came with the kit and some weird pens, but this is all my stuff, so I have tons. So I don't know what to give you until, I mean, you clearly need a pencil, and I'm gonna put it here. You don't mind? Yeah, I'll give you glasses. There's, I'll give you a fresh one. I'll give you a brand new tortilla.
All this running around's catching up with me. I'm tired.
Even if you were on- What are you looking for? Oh. Where'd you go?
I see you.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. How we doing?
Hi, Micah. Okay.
Maybe two.
Hi, Nan. Oh, we're doing round?
We're doing round. We're going to use a pre-strung with this pattern and a translucent tile.
Did you hear that you're say I'm applying your bail money to your father's debt? Is that?
No, did I?
I'm going to go ahead and mute some folks. And then you'll need your black pen. You have a PN. I was using my PN and then it died. So I have an 01 tonight, but that'll be fine. You might want one of your colored chalk pencils. You might want your colored jelly roll. If you have a white charcoal and a tortillon, and you'll need a Zentangle, a pencil of some kind. It doesn't have to be a Zentangle pencil. I think I might, instead of purple, I might use these ones. Is it better if I don't have this light on? No, then it's not enough.
Micah, can I see the other one? Is this the one?
Nope, the other one. You should have two different pre-strung Zendalas. Yep, that's the one.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so a translucent and a pre-strung. That looks like this. Okay, and a translucent.
Could you please show that again?
Yep, here's the pre-strung. You only have two pre-strung tiles, so it's one or the other. And if you did the other one, that's fine too. Okay.
Which one?
I have it up on the screen.
Got it, okay.
Here, let me pin I'm realizing maybe it's hard for you to see. I will spotlight myself so that now you see me. Okay, so that, just to go over it again, and a translucent Zendala. You've got a black pen, your jelly roll, your chalk pencil, a white charcoal, a tortillon, and a Zentangle pencil. If you're missing any of that, don't worry. I'll give you options for things you can do. and we'll make it work no matter what. I'm just going to give one more moment to see if anybody else is going to hop on. We have 15 on now. I know we have more than 20 who registered for Zentangle this season, so it's been catching like wildfire.
Yeah, I don't think Becca's gonna join. I don't think Andrew's home,
Okay, and
but she gets the recording.
yeah, and so they're all of their recordings. This is good for you to know. If you go to the Temple Sinai website and you go to the streaming page, you down at the bottom there you can see previous broadcasts, and then they have a whole section called classes. And if you click on that, then you get redirected over to YouTube, and there are many Zentangle classes and other classes that have been offered at Temple Sinai. So, you know, the last 8 or 10 or so are probably up there. I can't quite find where the November 1st class is. It's on my computer somewhere, and I am having trouble uploading that one, but the one from last week is there, and I'll get help getting this one up too. So, you know, if you want to go back and try any of the ones that you may have missed, you're welcome to. All right. So
Hey,
I think
Cantor,
yes.
I have a guest with me. Look at this.
Hi, Robin.
Hi there.
We're doing it together.
Awesome. That's great. You'll need to share the pre-strung Zentangle, but do you have an extra translucent tile?
No, she drew
I
the,
just copied Myrna's. It's not as good as you did it, but
Fantastic.
yeah.
but I only have one translucent.
Okay. All right.
So can she do something? I have a bunch of Zendalas. Could you do something else?
Yes, definitely. So I'll keep that in mind and give you options, Robin. So
Thank you.
that's great. Awesome. Okay. So everybody ready? Let's settle in for a bit. Just get ourselves centered and in the right frame of mind. It's a lot in this world to distract us, to disturb our peace and calm and sense of well-being. So let's see if we can reclaim and restore that for just a little while tonight while we work on a tile together in a Zentangle community of like-minded friends and Temple family. I'm glad to be here with all of you. Make sure that your body is comfortable, feet flat on the floor, shoulders relaxed and down. If you care to close your eyes, you can do so. Let's take some deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Continue breathing as you listen to my words, maybe with eyes closed. We're going to be working on a translucent Zendala, so which means we can see through it and we can tangle on both sides. Robin, you'll be working on one side, but it'll still work. And I just was thinking that once again, Zentangle provides us with a metaphor for life. There are two sides to everything. And sometimes the reality depends on how you look at it. And without getting too deep into it, I feel like, you know, there are people out there in the world who only see one side ever. And maybe our practice tonight reminds us to bring in nuance and awareness for all of the complexities that exist in our world, whatever that means to you. And so let's bring our creativity and our flexibility to our tile this evening. Maybe that's your intention, or maybe you have something else that you want to bear in mind as we work through this project tonight. I'll remind you that Zentangle is a practice. It's not a perfect. So we are works in progress, and so is our Zentangle art. And it's good to bring self-compassion and forgiveness to this experience and every experience. We are always still learning. So be kind to yourself, be good to yourself, be patient with yourself. Allow creativity to flow and know that there are no great consequences if this does not go the way you originally anticipated. So just let go and enjoy as much as you can. Another couple deep breaths here. And when you're ready, open your eyes and we can begin. So we're going to be creating our own pre-strung translucent Zendala. So we're not tangling on this just yet. I mean, maybe we will in another class. Robin, you are. But we're going to begin by overlaying the translucent Zendala on top of the pre-strung and tracing the pattern onto the Zendala. So I like to kind of anchor it. I'm going to use my pencil just to put that string down. Oh, hold on. I just realized that my camera is mirrored and that makes me nuts.
Micah, can you just show me which of the pre-strungs you're using one more time? I'm sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
The
It
6
is,
o'clock time is really tough in our house.
it is this one. You see? And if you,
Yes.
if you
Yes.
don't have the
Thank you.
exact same
No,
one,
I do have that one. Thank you.
great. You got it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and overlay that translucent Zendala over the pre-strung, and we're going to trace. So you don't need to go too dark. Just want to lay it down so that you can then have it on your your translucent tile. So I'm kind of holding it down with one hand while I trace with the other. I'm turning it around as I go, trying to keep it, you know, it's pretty cemented in the same spot, but if it moves a little, that's okay. Oops, totally just undid mine, but that's all right. See if I can get it lined up close again. There we go. Okay. So mine is already from the start imperfect. You can see it's slightly off kilter, but that's all right. Okay. So, and I'll give you different options for different things you can try if you're up for being experimental. So I'm now going to pick up my black pen. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 of these sort of petals that are coming out. So we're going to tangle in 3 of them to start, alternating every other one. And we're going to start with a tangle called poke leaf. Here, let me show you poke leaf on this scrap paper here. Poke leaf is a favorite of mine, and it starts with a little curved line, and then you aura that little curved line. Then you put a little cap on the top of those 2 curved lines. So this becomes your stem. Then it has this little cap here. And then it's sort of like a upside down heart. We make this leaf shape. Okay, and poke leaf can grow out from one from the other, and they can go in all different directions. They're very fun. So you can make another one, a curved line, or that curved line, put a little cap, and then put that little upside down heart on top, and they go every which way, and they can go behind one another. Okay, so that's poke leaf, and the part of the fun is having them overlap, so you can use that technique of drawing behind that we've been working on. Okay, so that's poke leaf. So let's put poke leaf in this whole section right here. We're going to start down in this corner here, right in the center. I'm going to make my little 2 curved lines, put a cap on the curved line, and put my little heart-shaped leaf on top. And see, I've already gone over the line a little bit, so don't worry about being too precise. And these are actually, it's really fun to kind of squeeze them into this shape here. So now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to make this next stem kind of coming out of the one that came before, put a little cap on, and put another leaf there. They don't all have to be the same shape or size. I'm going to go over to the other side now. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and let my poke leaf grow wild and fill this whole area. They can be as organized or as disorganized as you want them to be. You can make them really snugly packed, or you can give more space in between them. The stems can be long or short. As I always say, if you want to be here all night, you can make them tiny. Or if you can want to, you can work a little larger. Be a little mindful of smearing the ink. It takes a little bit longer to dry on the translucent tiles. We're going to fill every other. So there'll be 3 in total that are filled with poke leaf. So no rush, but I'm going to skip one and then go on to the next segment here, doing the same thing. I find these are ones that I really get in a groove with. But I also know that not everybody loves the organic tangles, but I hope that mostly you do because that's what I really like. Okay, and then when I'm ready, I'm going to skip one and go on to the third of 3. Kind of turning my tile back and forth as the leaves sort of alternate going one direction and the next. And I find that the leaves tend to grow out from the sort of V shape that happens in between 2 other leaves. If you're done, although you're probably not yet, go back and send some love into the little interstices. You can color them in or add little orbs or if you want to. I think sometimes the attention you pay to the pattern after you're done drawing the initial shape is where the elegance and finesse comes in. I always go back and redraw and re-emphasize, not to fix, but just to emphasize and to sort of sculpt the lines a little bit. I find that a very enjoyable part of the Zentangle process. So once you've got your oak leaf down, get ready to move on to the next step. Just adding a little bit of love here. Okay. So now we have these little, I don't know, like fins or crescents. They're like shark fins that are coming out here at these far edges. And I just want to put some orbs in them. We're going to put orbs in all of them, whether whether it's one with oak leaf or not. So here on this one, I'm just going to start with a little orb down in the corner here. And then we're going to do that thing where we kind of tuck each subsequent orb behind the first as they kind of grow to fill this space. And then they get smaller as we get to the edge. And then on some of them, they're not quite nestled in the poke leaf the same way, but you do the same thing. We're just going to start with a little orb down at the tip here. And then each subsequent orb nestles right in behind the one before it. You may need to draw behind when you get to the poke leaf. Just imagine where it would fall behind. Okay, we're going to do that on all of them all the way around, so you can just keep turning your tile. That's why I love Zendalas. You're just going to follow the leader. And especially on a pre-strung, you just look for the same shape and you put the same pattern in if that's your choice. Everyone doing okay so far? very seriously at work. Or if you have your camera off, I don't know, maybe you're having coffee or something. Okay, so let's do a little bit more on this side before we flip it over and start to tangle on the other side.
Am I the only one who's not done?
Okay, sorry, I'll stop, I'll wait. If your camera is off, I can't see if your head's still down and you're furiously drying or not. Okay, I'm going to show you what comes next. If you're not there yet, you can stop what you're doing and come with me and then go back and finish what's left afterwards. So we should have sort of a bare pencil line here from part of our tracing of the pattern before. So we're just going to add a little bit here. And I'm doing sort of like a little row of muka. I'll show you. Like if here, this is our line. So I'm just going to come around and down like these little muka tops. It's like a big comma shape or something. And they just kind of grow
Nicholas Walrod.
off the line like that. And we're just going to sort of nestle them in there.
Hey,
Okay, so let's try that in these little lines here. So we're just gonna put a little cute little muka row sort of one kind of grows out from the one before. Okay, then I'm gonna turn and find the next available line. I'm getting like 4 or 5 of them there. I mean, if you get more or less, that's fine. Okay, so we have something like that. You could put some little orbs in these spaces if you want to. Depends on how your muka came out. Not all muka are created equal. So I'm putting a little orb in there and then I'm coloring the little spaces that are left. Just defining it a little bit. Okay. So we are just about ready to flip our Zendala over and work on the other side. Robin, I'm sorry, you're going to do all of yours on one side and it's still going to be awesome. So actually, I'm not sorry. You're just having a slightly different experience. And that's okay. Okay, so when you're confident that your ink is dry, I'm even just going to wave mine a little bit to dry it off. We can turn our tile over. They curl a little bit sometimes. That's why you see me like flattening mine out again. So I have two different options for what you might want to do in these three spaces that we have. So you can do all different ones, or you can pick which one you want. I'll show you both. The first one, so mine's going to be a hodgepodge of different things. The first one is an option for striping. And it's was a little bit strange with this shape. So what I did was I kind of carried this down and separated this space, dividing it in two with my pen. Maybe just watch me for a second so you can decide what you want to do. Okay, and then I did some stripes that go this way with a gentle curve to them, all the way down like that. And then I did another set of stripes that comes down this way. Like that. And then I would color in every other band.
Cantor, you're doing it on the back?
Yep, now we're on the back. We flipped over to the other side.
How come it's so clear on yours and not on?
Well, the camera shows up a little bit differently. So anyway, that's one option. So you could do striping in that kind of look like a book unfolding. So that's one thing. If you want something that's maybe a little bit more challenging, is a little bit of betweed, which I am doing. I'll show you this way. So again, I'm using this as kind of like a dividing line. So I kind of did a line like this. And then I went from this corner over here and divided that way. And then I used this corner as another dividing line and I came up this way. So I just segmented it into 6 areas. So this is the basis for betweed, or this version of betweed. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And then the way betweed works is I've just picked this area to start with, this triangular shape. So starting from this bottom edge, I come up and I meet this line a little bit away from the center. And you can give a little bit of weight to that line if you want to weight it. So the first part comes down from this side and comes up and touches this line. Now, the next line is going to come up from this corner and touch over to that line that I just drew a little bit farther in. And you can weight that line as well. And then you just go back and forth. Now I go back to this side and I'm turning my tile back and forth. And I go to touch that new line that I just drew and add a little weight there. And then I turn my tile and I come from the bottom and I come up to meet that line there. And I just go back and forth until this whole little segment is filled. You have to be a little creative. The lines can they don't have to be straight. In fact, mine often curve to fill the space. It's this tweed kind of overlapping back and forth and back and forth until the section is filled. So, and then I would move on to the next segment. Start at the bottom corner. I start at the right-hand side each time. Come up to touch the other side. Turn my tile. Come up to touch the line that I just drew, weighting the line. Turn back around. And you can go over the pattern that's on the other side a little bit. It doesn't matter, it's on the other side. If you're Robin, then you know, kind of just draw behind as you fill the space. Okay, so tweed is kind of, you know, is one option. Or striping. Or maybe you have some other idea about something else that you want to put in this, you know, the flip side. I'm going for something a little bit more linear and angular as opposed to our really organic and flowing poke leaf on the other side. If you have another idea, if you even want to unmute and share it, of what you want to do, but I'll leave you to either do your striping or your betweed or something else. You could probably do like paradox or munchin, if you know what any of those tangles are.
Micah,
Yes.
if we're doing the stripes, the one that looks like a book,
Uh-huh.
when you're shading in, should it you shade in the same on the other side or do the opposite for the other section? You know
Oh,
what I mean?
that's a good question. I think that's up to you. Whatever feels best on your tile.
Okay.
That's a not, how's that for a non-answer?
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I think it could go either way. I think it would look cool both ways.
Okay.
Mhm.
Micah, can you just show me where you divided up, you know, just retrace the lines that you divided up for the betweed?
Yes, absolutely. So I started thinking about this point right here up to this point. So I did that. And then this point to the other side, roughly like that. So you're making an X, and then this long one coming up through the center here. That help? I guess I'm doing between in that one now, huh?
Micah, would you just step through between again? I've made a
Yeah.
big mess already.
It can get complicated. Yeah, let
All of
me,
a sudden, my eyes stopped, my brain stopped seeing it,
yes,
so.
I understand. Let me, here, I'm just gonna sort of draw a shape here like this. Okay, so if we're kind of making a section, like a 6-sectioned
Okay,
So focus in on one triangle at a time
right?
and I start at the bottom right, if this is the orientation, with the coming to a point in the center. Start at the bottom right, gentle curve up to the top left, not all the way to the top. Okay, and
Okay.
then start on the bottom left, gentle curve to meet that line that you just
Oh.
on the right. And then they just alternate back and forth.
So it's like a stitching.
It's a stitch, exactly. It's like tweed. It's like woven together. So you just have to stay focused on one
Oh,
segment.
what I've done, my goodness.
Make something beautiful out of it. I know you can.
Well, you have more faith in me than I.
I have lots of faith. I have all the faith. That's why I do what I do. What'd you say? Sorry, I muted you prematurely. No, I still can't hear you. You're still muted.
It's the nature of the job.
It is. It is.
Thank you.
Sure. I haven't said it in a while. Check in with yourself. Are you feeling a little stressed? Are you tensing? Are you grabbing onto your pen? Or your shoulders hunched? If any of those things describe you, relax. Remember to breathe. Feel like these tiles have a nice little grip to the paper, but it's also nice and smooth. It's a nice experience of the pen to this vellum-like paper. Feels different from the paper tiles. Turning your tile as you work, keeping your hand comfortable, relaxing your shoulders away from your ears. Going with the flow. Find the flow. We have a subscription to Apple Fitness, and I'm getting back into doing some yoga. And, she's this very accomplished yogi who I like to do the classes with. And, she always says, take a minute to ground yourself, center yourself, find your footing, let it settle. And like, meanwhile, she steps into whatever position perfectly. And I'm like falling all over the place. So, I feel like sometimes Zentangle is like that, it's sure, just draw between. And so I understand the feeling of it. Maybe me trying to explain it as something very simple and easy, but I know that it's not always easy. And that's why we're patient with ourselves.
My brain and hand are not coordinating with between at all.
Not at all. Maybe switch to striping.
Well, I am after a fashion and kind of a bunched up bales, but in order to cover up my messed up between.
So you know what? You're just going to look at it from the other side and it's going to be great. Give you another couple minutes here. I haven't forgotten about you. I'm still here. Just giving you time. Okay, most of you still seem pretty busy. I'll give you another little bit. Every now and then, if you care to, you can sort of flip it over and see how it looks from the other side. It's pretty neat, the effect of having the two layers of tangles. Okay, so we have so many options. I want to fill these sort of outer little triangular spaces. We're still on the flip side, the side that we just tangled between or striping on. So our poke leaf and orbs and stuff are on the other side still. So we have our more linear side up. So I have a lot of different ideas, and just like the last couple of weeks, I'll give you a bunch of options and let you do what you want to do. To fill these areas here that are left around the outside, you could put flux in these areas. So I'm using the tangles that are on the other side as my guide, a rough guide. And you could fill them like that. You know, that whole section. Okay, and I would fill that whole area in with flux. Or we could use printemps. Anything you can imagine was really, I mean, these are just kind of my go-tos, but we could put printemps in here. Would also look really interesting, I think. So our sort of spiraling tangle, so that's an option too. We could do a fun one called Zentangle, which you lay down some lightly crisscrossing lines at all different angles, every which way, so you could fill that whole little area like so with those crisscrossing shapes, and then you kind of smush a hard-boiled egg inside each of those little shapes that you made. So that's a fun one. A little tricky when you come to that outside edge there. I just kind of drew the edge. So you could do something like that. That's in Zeppel. You could fill it with more tipple, just our orbs, although that might be a little bit too similar to what's happening here. Maybe you wanted to do hollabow, which is our overlapping planks. So I make one line and then a parallel line. And then the next line that I draw is going to go underneath the one that I just did. So I pick up and continue. And then the other one follows underneath. And then I just make a whole bunch of overlapping planks like that. So that's hollabow. You could do something like that. If I'm saying things that you don't know and that are confusing, just, you can ignore and stick with something that is familiar and comfortable. A variation on poke leaf is poke root. So you could grow some poke root if you wanted to. So same little thing, those two little parallel lines, a little cap on top, and then an orb instead of that heart-shaped leaf. So you could do that. So now mine is a little bit of everything. Yours could be all the same, or you could alternate. Really, anything you want. So I'm going to let you get creative here. And I'll be excited to see what you've decided to do. And I'm going to have sort of like everything but the kitchen sink. Part of what I want you to take away from this is I'm seeing my role more and more as just a guide to help you unlock your creativity. We don't all need to be doing the same exact thing. And in fact, I think it's more beautiful and more interesting when we are experimenting and expressing ourselves in our own unique way. You know, so we've started together with the same basic foundation, but then we should feel free to explore and have fun and find our own way. And also our own comfort and ability. Some of us have been tangling for years together, and others are very new. So, you know, if you have a more limited repertoire and you don't know all of these tangles yet, stick with what you know for right now. Or try something totally new and see what happens. Like I said, I have a repertoire of tangles that I really like and that I use all the time. I try to bring new ones as I learn them, but I find myself reverting back to the ones that I enjoy the most. If there's ever, you know, if you're out there on YouTube or Zentangle World or whatever, you know, exploring what's out there, and you have one that you want to spend more time with, you can let me know and I'll, you know, see if I can incorporate it into a tile that we're working on. I'd love to have that challenge. And don't be afraid to go to the edge of your tile on this one, just as long as you don't mind getting pen on whatever's underneath. You can see I'm drawing all over my table tonight. I have one more section left. What should I put in this one? Anybody doing something that's not on the screen? Anybody found a different filler for the background? I need a suggestion.
I'm not doing it, but I thought Diva Dance Rock and Roll would look cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah, let's do some diva dance. Thank you. So diva dance is a lot like printemps, rock and roll anyway, but you do some little lumps of ink around each time you go around. And so you come up with this funky rose sort of shape as you go. Diva dance is another one I do a lot. Okay, a couple more minutes to work on our backgrounds here. And then I'm going to get to shading and adding a little bit of color with our chalk pencils and things. All right. So if something like this, maybe yours is not quite as busy as mine. Let it dry on this side for a second. Flapping mine around. And then go back to the front when you're ready. Let's see. Let's do a little shading on our poke leaf. So I'm going to pick up my pencil, my Zentangle pencil, and on the sort of the edges of that first shape that we made, I'm going to put a little bit of graphite on the edges, these outer edges of these poke leaf shapes. I'm going to do that all the way around. So if yours sort of grew out of the shape, you just shade the outer edges of the leaves. Okay, and then once you've done that, you can go around and just blend with the tortillon. It's really nice on this surface. The graphite blends really silky smooth. You can do a lot with it. So I'm even carrying it over to some of the inner leaves with just what's on my tortillon, just to give a little bit of dimension to the inner leaves as well. Just a little, because you don't want to make the whole thing gray. Just a little bit of dimensionality. So you make your way around the tile. Okay, so we've added some shading there. I'm going to take my chalk pencil and I'm going to color my orbs. You could blend them with the tortillon. I don't know. I think that then it might kind of contaminate it. So maybe don't do that. If you have a clean tortillon, I don't have one handy with me, you could blend that way, but I'm wanting to add a little bit of color on this side. Ooh, it already pops. That's cool. I'm just making little circles inside the orbs to kind of color in. And I don't worry about going all the way to the edges because I don't want to cover the ink. So just something to think about. And then most of you, I try to help coordinate your jelly roll with your chalk pencils. So hopefully they coordinate. And you can go in and some of these smaller orbs, you could color in with the jelly roll. You could fill in the stems of your poke leaf with your jelly roll if you want to. You don't have to, and if you don't have these tools, that's okay. Just remember, the original Zentangle started as just black on a white square, so we can always just go back to basics. These are just, all of these extras are exactly that. They're just extras. They're just tools to aid our creativity, but we can do everything that we need to with just black ink on white paper. And if there are tools that you don't have that you want, please email me and let me know, and we will get them to you. Okay, that, if you're using the jelly roll, that will definitely need a minute to dry, so I'm waving mine around. What happens if I move on this? I don't think it's okay. I'm not heeding my own advice. I'm using my charcoal, my graphite tortillon to blend my chalk pencil. We'll see. Might pay for it later. Okay, when you think it's safe to do so, flip your tile over. If you are tangling on a surface that you don't want to get anything on, I would suggest putting a piece of paper or something underneath. Ooh, look at what it looks like from this side now. That's cool. Okay, great. Let's shade what we have on this side. So I'm going to take my graphite pencil and I'm going to shade, whether it's my striping or the tweed, and I'm just going along that edge where it meets with poke leaf on the other side, and maybe along that center fold if we're doing striping. It's really look like it's folded down in the center and coming up around the edges. And we can do the same, similar with between, just really shading around the outside of that shape. You can take your tortillon and do some blending. I'm turning my tile as I go. The graphite really travels on this surface, so it's kind of fun. All right, and then however we want to shade these sort of outer patterns, I'm not totally sure. I think we kind of just go along that outer edge just to kind of separate it. So I'm just sort of going along that curve where it goes up against what's on the other side. I think that'll just sort of define the areas. And if you see an opportunity to put your jelly roll or chalk pencil on this side, go for it. I'm not sure I do on mine, but that doesn't mean there's not the opportunity for you on yours. I like how it looks showing through from the other side, though. That's very cool. Done. Then you can take your tortillon, blend again. So I'm taking graphite that's just on the tortillon and I'm using it to shade a little further out from the edges where I laid down the graphite to begin with. And it really travels quite far on the surface, and that's kind of fun. I'm actually sort of shading those colored orbs from the back side with just the graphite that's on my tortillon. I might just make my stems of my poke root on the back side.
Micah, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You keep talking about it. What is this little paper thing? Is this a tortillon? And like, am I supposed
Yep.
to be sharpen it? Because I can't use.
No, you don't sharpen it. So it maybe if the tip is blunt, you probably just pushed it in. So you just need a new one. So yeah, you can't sharpen it. There is a technique that some people use. If you take a paper clip, if yours is dented in, you can take a paper clip and stick it all the way up to get the tip to stick up again. You can try that, but you can also see me and I can get you a new one.
Because I've been peeling it, thinking I'm supposed to be.
No, it's kind of just the
Okay.
way it is. And
Okay.
and when
Okay.
it's used up, it's used up. But I can always get you another one if you need.
Okay.
The key to them is to use them at an angle. If you use it like point straight up like a pencil, you'll squish the tip.
Ah.
That I squish my tips anyway.
Okay.
Micah,
Right.
Micah,
Yeah.
may I ask? I noticed that little white pencil. I don't think I have that. I just.
Yes, you may not have that.
Oh, okay.
But I actually didn't use it at all on this tile.
Oh.
So you're not missing anything. It's for highlights, and also, so if you want one, just send me an email, I'll get you one. You can use it on this tile to add little
I don't have that.
highlights to things that are happening. So it is a fun tool. I definitely recommend one, but you don't
Thank
need
you.
it. So yeah, you can go back while we're here and talking about it. You could add some highlights to the front of it. When you are ready, you can go ahead and put your initials, your chop, somewhere on this tile, front or back or whatever, because only you know which is the front or the back. I'm gonna stick mine right back here. And this one, we don't have the space on the back to write the names of the tangles or the date or anything like that, but here we are. So hold your tile at arm's length, tilt it so you can see it in all different lights. It's so many different experiences, and that moment of turning it over to you sort of get all of it at once. It's really very cool and very magical. So I'm gonna take off my spotlight and we can do our mosaic all together. Let me see. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, and be sure to flip it over. Oh, great job, everyone. Let us see both sides. What does either side look like? Amazing. Robin, how was it all on one side? How was it for you? Figuring out how to unmute. Nice job, Marcia. That's beautiful.
It was great. I actually don't love translucent tiles, so I'm gonna one. When
Okay, so
I tiles up on shelf and they curl up.
no, yeah, they do. They curl up. Wow, well done, everybody. These are beautiful. Arlene, can you hold yours a little closer? I can't get a good look. Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Rebecca, lovely. Amy, lovely. Amy's. And is that Megan with you? Yeah, good. Those are great. Nicely done, Gail, Gloria. I love them. Awesome. Any reflections from the tile experience tonight? Anything anybody wants to share? Was it maddening? Was it relaxing? Was it fun? Was it something new?
I liked it.
Tile was fun and I need to practice between. That didn't work out too well.
The tweed is, I hesitated as to whether to even offer it
Yep.
tonight because I know, and especially in an unusual shape, like a randomized shape, it's hard.
Very hard, very
Yeah.
difficult.
So yeah, you can see there are more traditional forms of betweed. I like this one the best though, but yes, it does take a little getting used to, but that's why we had the striping option too, if that was a little bit more.
That was kind of an awkward space to put betweed in. I mean, I usually do it in that sort of triangular shape, but it was kind of funky. I ended up doing paradox in mine.
Yeah, that's a good option too. Yep. That looks great. Oh, did you do that too, Rebecca? Nice. Okay, great. Yeah, they're kind of similar in the effect. You should do paradox more. Excellent. All right, everyone. Well, thank you. This was the last in this first series. I think, when do we pick up again? January, something like that.
Wonderful.
So have a fabulous little bit of time. Sign up for the Cantors concert because that's what I'll be working on in the meantime. And I hope to see you all really
Thank you and happy
Thank
Thanksgiving
you.
and happy
Happy
Hanukkah.
Thanksgiving, happy Hanukkah.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Good rest
Happy
of the week.
Thanksgiving, happy Hanukkah.
Beautiful job, everyone. Really well done.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, Micah.
Hi, Phyllis.
Hi, Muriel.